Hey guys, Jen here from House of Littles. Today I wanted to do a video for you reviewing our history that we used last year. We used, or I guess the end of this year, we used Mystery of History, and it's our first year doing it, so we're on volume 1, which is Creation to the Resurrection. We really did enjoy this. We did do things differently from the way the book instructs it, and I found some things on Pinterest and just tips from other moms in our co-op and here on YouTube. So I thought I would put everything together and show you what we did and bring that to you, and hope that helps you along with your journey on Mystery of History if it's something you choose to do. So here we go. So first off, the Mystery of History book, this curriculum has 4 volumes to it. Volume 1 is Creation to Resurrection. And what I really, really love, I think my favorite thing about this curriculum, other than the fact that I can put all my kids in it, it's one curriculum, it's one price, I don't have to buy it again and again, is that this goes in chronological order. When I was looking at other curriculums, the thing that I noticed about it is if you're going to do American history, it's just American history. If you're going to do ancient Greece or ancient Rome or any kind of ancient history, it's just that. It doesn't tell you about the other things that are going on in the world. So my husband and I both were in the public school system growing up, and doing history was just kind of a requirement. We didn't really enjoy it, and I'll tell you, a lot of it stuck for my husband, but virtually none of it stuck for me. So when it came time to do history, I wanted something that was going to be simple, that was going to be fun as possible anyway. And I kept coming across Mystery of History, and when I finally took a look at the book, let me open this up for you. Now there's 2 options when you're doing this book. You can do the reading and then do the activities, or you can purchase the CD, and the CD is like a book on tape. So you can do the activity while that's being read, or I know some people that have the CD and they just listen to it in the car or kind of in the background while they're doing other activities. And they get their lesson that way, and then they just do the activities, or they just use the CD as a supplement to what they're already doing. So you could do that, but what we do with it is, because I have 4 kids, 4 different ages, and yes, I do include our 2-year-old on this too, and I will explain how I do that in a minute. But if you look at the activities at the end of the reading, at the end of the lesson, you've got younger and middle students, you've got middle students, and then you have older students, and there's different activities for each one of those age brackets. My 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, my 6-year-old would do the younger activity, and my 11-year-old would either do the middle or the older student activity, or sometimes we would only all do the younger activity. It really just depends on the activity. It depends on the lesson. Like, there were some that were Play-Doh, some that were Legos, you know, just simple things. And then there were some where we had the opportunity to go on field trips. When we got to King Tut, there was an exhibit at the museum that we go to that we actually have a membership to that we get every year, that we could have gone to see. You know, we didn't get there in time because I just didn't line it up right. So that was poor planning on my part. But that would have gone perfectly with it, so we didn't do any activities, we didn't have to watch any documentaries or do anything. We would go see that in real life. Now what we actually did was, and I've got it, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see the pictures. We actually had the opportunity to go take our entire curriculum with us to the museum, sit down in the middle of the exhibit, go all over, and do the history exhibit without really being disturbed, because, you know, we homeschool, it's the morning, everybody else is in school. So it was just really cool, a really cool experience. They really, really enjoyed it, and they retained a lot of it. So let's go over the pros and cons of Mystery of History. This year I found that the big pros to it is that this is already pretty much laid out for you. When you go into the beginning of it, it gives you a quick, you know, acknowledgement, an overview of it. My favorite thing about this is that the lessons are already totally done for you. If you follow a semester system, then all you do is follow where it says semester 1. I passed it. And then semester 2. If you follow a quarter system, you follow where it says quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4, and it's already all done. The one thing I don't like about everything being pre-planned though is, we don't do these pre-tests and we don't always do the review. And we don't always do the what did you miss. Now here's an enrichment that we started to do, which was the Wall of Fame timeline suggestions. The Wall of Fame timeline suggestions. We got the sewing board that you see here, this right here. We started to do it, but then we found that doing our notebooks that we put together and the reading was more than enough when we coupled that with our field trips and some of the activities. For us, that worked. Now, if you wanted to keep track of all the timelines and the dates, for us in our first year doing this, I just kind of found that it was a little too much. When we're a very science heavy family, so we do a lot of experiments and we do a lot of science curriculum, and everybody's got their individual stuff and they help each other with it. So this was just one step that I decided to not do once we got into it after probably about a month. And I'll probably save it for next year, because I think next year we might. I don't know. We'll see. We're just going to play it by ear too. But they've got some really good ideas. I really like the sewing board because we are kind of, our wall space in our classroom is used up. Between whiteboards and cork boards and our world map, it's used up. And if at any point in time we decide to move to a smaller house, I'm definitely not going to have the room to have a timeline displayed up on the wall. I might not even have a classroom. So this sewing board is definitely a good space saver. It just folds up. Here, I'll show you. I mean, this is just your standard sewing board that you can get from, you know, Joann's. So that's about as far as we got. We got 3 timeline figures in there, and that we decided we were done. They weren't real excited about that anyway, so that's the sewing board. But if you're gonna do it and you really wanna do the timeline figures, that's a good way to do it. It's got a lot of information. I mean, this is really, you don't need to implement this curriculum, you really don't need anything extra other than that. They do make it so that you can do the entire curriculum with just this book. You don't have to have everything else or anything else to do this. That being said, we decided that we were going to get some extra things. These are the timeline figures. These are the Homeschool in the Woods timeline figures. Now, I believe, and if I'm wrong and someone knows that, please correct me in the comments, but I believe all of these timeline figures will work with Story of the World, I believe, and a couple other curriculums too. But they go perfectly with Mystery of History. And I mean, there's one for each one. It's even in order. It's great. I love these. You can buy them in the years, like in the different volumes. Like if you're going to do volume 1 Mystery of History, you would buy volume 1 timeline figures. Or you can get, I think there's a CD. I think you can also get the printed version sent to you, but they're pretty expensive. Like these, the CD that has everything on there, there's a fire truck going by. The CD that's got everything on there that you can just print as you need it, it's like $80, and that's definitely not in our budget. So for us, all I did this year was just buy the first volume because we were trying out a new curriculum. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it and how it was going to go. But these actually worked really, really well for our notebooks. So we have 3 different notebooking journals. I have 4 one for each child. These 2 are the same for my 5 and 6-year-old. And then I've got a separate one for my 2-year-old, and then this is for my 11-year-old. What I did is basically just made this title page, and I laminated it, and then I used our binding system to create these. Now, because this binding system is so small, and I didn't do front to back, I had a different printer at the time. I've got 2, so they each have 2 books. So, but this is the one we did at the beginning of the year, and this for my 11-year-old, I actually found this free, yes, free on Pinterest. If you go on Pinterest and search Mystery of History Notebooking or Mystery of History Printables, you will find a ton of free resources. So this follows exactly to the book, and he's got a page on creation, and then we've got Adam and Eve, and Jubal and Tubal Cain, Noah and the Flood. So this gives quite a bit of information too. So he would go through this, and as I read, he would do these. So our second notebooking journal is the one that I made. And what I did is basically take these timeline figures and set them up on pages and just make copies of them. Sometimes they will listen, sometimes they'll draw, sometimes they'll just color the picture. I don't really require, at this point in time, this is Jackson's, he was in kindergarten this year. I didn't really require that he do a ton of stuff. I just said, listen to the story. Whatever you hear about that you want to draw a picture of. So, you know, he would do pretty good for the most part. Sometimes you see he didn't draw at all, and then sometimes he got pretty detailed. And he was trying to draw his tower there. So he would just kind of draw what stuck out to him and what he likes. See his pyramids. And here's his tomb. And then some of them I missed, so I just kind of wrote them in. So that is Jackson's. And then Caleb's, you know, he's got, I think he has, I did not require him to do much. I just put it in front of him, and he would, as long as he listened, I was happy, you know. So here we go. When we studied Egyptian civilization, he drew trains. And that's okay, because he was quiet and he was listening and he got some of it in. And then later when we were at the museum, he would reiterate it to me. Some of what I was reading to him, he would point out at the museum. So as long as they're sitting and they're quiet and they're listening at this age, I don't really require much else. So the last notebooking journal that we created was for Evie, and these are also off of Pinterest, and all it is coloring sheets. I would give this to her and she'd color and scribble and do whatever she wanted. And sometimes she would color, sometimes she would sit on my lap. It's got a little picture for each lesson. And it's just an introduction, you know, it's just exposing them to it. And then later on they will retain all the important stuff. So that is hers. I really like these. I wish I had found these actually before I had put Caleb's together, or this is Caleb's, before I put Caleb's together, because I think that would have been better for him. So that is about it for our Mystery of History review. Overall, I really do enjoy the curriculum. My kids really enjoyed it. I think it was pretty easy to use. It did take some sorting through and figuring out what was going to work for us and what wasn't. And if you're new to the program and you don't have the time or the resources to go through and do every single thing in there, you can definitely pick and choose. You don't have to do everything exactly the way it's meant to be. You can just make it fit for your family. I think that's, again, one of the beauties of homeschooling. So for the pros, I would say my favorite thing about it is that it goes chronologically. You know, it tells you everything that was happening at every point in time in history. You know, what was happening in the world when Jesus was there. In my brain, growing up, nothing else happened. It's just, I didn't make that connection really until I was an adult. That's pretty sad. But I did not make that connection because I really didn't care about history. And now I'm really enjoying it. It's just fun to teach. And I think when you really enjoy teaching something, you teach it better. And then your kids pick up on that and they learn it better, and then they hang on to it. So overall, good program. I have no plans of changing it. I thought about Story of the World, but I like the amount of Bible that's in here. I've looked at Story of the World from a friend that has it, and she loves it. But it doesn't have as much Bible in it as Mystery of History does. Mystery of History is definitely Bible-based, and there's more of that than anything else. But we're just in the first volume. I haven't gotten into other volumes. That could change in following years. If you've used Mystery of History, I'd love to hear from you. And tell me, how is Volume 2? How's Volume 3 and Volume 4? I hope this video was helpful in any decisions that you might be making on which homeschool curriculum to choose or to possibly switch to. There's a lot of options out there, and there's a lot to go through. So we got lucky with this one. We were very happy with it. So this is actually our first year doing a formal history curriculum. Before, we just kind of unschooled history and a lot of unschooling for science. We just live in a very history-rich area. So it's easy for us to just kind of walk out our door and either go 10 minutes that way, or 10 minutes that way, or 45 minutes that way, and we've got history right there. There's a lot of reenactments in our area. The wars were fought in our area, and there's a lot of memorials and museums around that they give us all that information. So that's what we've been using up until now, and I just kind of felt the need to have a little bit more of a structured curriculum because I have a child that is getting up there in age and in grades, and he has
has requirements that I need to meet for him. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And I kind of snuck this video in the middle of doing a series. I am doing a curriculum hall series. If you haven't seen that, I will put the link for the first one, which was the curriculum hall video for Jackson, for Caleb, my kindergartner, or soon to be kindergartner, coming up. And I've got the full haul in there of what he is going to be doing. And then I'm going to have Jackson's first grade coming up, and then Wyatt's 7th grade coming up. And then I'm going to have one more video in that series on how I keep Evie busy. She will be doing kind of an early preschool this coming year. So stay tuned for all of that. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.